Audrey is my name. I've been married for a little over a year. I've been working hard to win the approval of my mother-in-law, but it appears that everything was for naught. The reason for this is straightforward. My mother-in-law approached me and said something like this. "I'm giving you back," she said. "What, return?" I asked, perplexed. Needless to say, I was taken aback, but it didn't matter how hard I tried. My mother-in-law drove me to my parents' house. My parents live near my in-laws, only a few minutes away by car. When we arrived at my parents' house, my mother-in-law shouted loudly out the door, "Hey, come on out!" Inside the house, there was a thumping sound. My father came out right away. "Oh, can I assist you?" he asked. "I'm sorry, but I have to speak with you," my mother-in-law replied. "A talk? Let's hear it inside. Come on in," my father responded with a smile. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, shook her head. "We can talk here. We're only here to give your useless daughter back," she told him. "Useless daughter?" My father's expression shifted, his gaze clearly upset, as it turned to my mother-in-law. "What do you mean, useless?" he wondered. "I mean exactly what I said. Isn't that right?" she continued. My mother-in-law expected my father to understand her. "Don't you understand unless I tell you? A wife with a monthly salary of only $500 is a faulty product. Defective," she insisted. "Defective?" My father's face looked like that of a demon. I was afraid my father would go insane, but there was nothing I could do. My mother-in-law, oblivious to my father's rage, continued to speak ill of me as if nothing was wrong. "You know what? She can't do a thing around the house, and she doesn't make much money," she kept accusing me. "And now you want to return her?" my father inquired, his voice tense. When my mother noticed the commotion, she came out of the house. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, didn't look at my mother. "That's what I said," she told my father. "I'm returning such a wife, so the parents should accept responsibility," the mother-in-law added. "I see. I understand what you mean," my father replied. He took one look at my mother, then they both nodded. "Well then, there's nothing we can do. Let us take responsibility and close the company," my father uttered. "Yes, we need to accept responsibility and close the company," my mother added firmly. "What? You're going to close the business?" My mother-in-law was taken aback. "Wait, what company are you referring to?" my father-in-law asked, a little upset. "You're asking us to take responsibility. It's company. What else could it be?" my father stated flatly. I couldn't help but sigh when I saw my father in that state. He was furious. What should I do? I couldn't stop him when he became like this. My father, when serious, would always follow through on his promises. No matter how difficult the task, he would make whatever he said come true, particularly when it came to me, because he adores me so much. Why is my father so devoted to me? It has something to do with my childhood. From a young age, I was extremely frail. If something bad happened to me, I'd get a fever and go to bed right away. Every few weeks, I'd get a fever, and I'd stay in bed for a week after falling ill. That is why I couldn't attend elementary school much and rarely played with my friends. My mother would, of course, stay with me if I fell ill, and because he was worried about me, my father was unable to complete any work, which was a common occurrence in our family. Perhaps he loved me even more than usual because I was so frail. In any case, both of my parents adored me since I was a child. Being physically weak wasn't all bad either. My parents provided me with many things to keep me occupied while I was bedridden. They bought me books, video games, and a variety of other items. My older brother was extremely jealous of me. I was the only one who could be bought so many things. Among them, I was particularly fond of my laptop. It was my father's, which he used for work. Because it was my father's second-hand laptop, it might not have been enough for a normal person to use. However, as an elementary school student, it was enough. I was able to draw pictures and play games. I could use it to connect to the internet and see what was going on in the world. I spent most of my time in bed, so the computer was a whole new world to me. There was a world here that I had no idea existed. Perhaps I can make my own world here. It's a good memory that I had as a child. That is how I became interested in computers. It started with children's drawings, but I eventually moved on to graphics. Fascinated by the world of 3D, I began to study illustration and computer graphics. That's how I ended up becoming a graphic designer. Even though I'm weak, I can handle this. With this in mind, after graduating from high school, I began working as a graphic designer at home. However, I encountered numerous difficulties in the beginning. I was self-taught, and I lacked any specialized knowledge. Furthermore, I had no idea how to find work. My body isn't in good enough shape to go to work, so I'll just have to make do. It is difficult for me to commute to work. I could work remotely, but I wouldn't be able to work every day like a regular person. In other words, the only way for me to work at my own pace is to take on work on my own and complete it. It's a lot of work, but if this works out, I'll be able to support myself. I spent many days on the internet researching, piling hard work on top of hard work. I persisted, and more people began to recognize me. The same people approached me again or introduced me to new clients. My work gradually began to take on the characteristics of a job. In the meantime, 5 years had passed. When my work became popular, I breathed a sigh of relief. My father approached me with a proposal at that point. "Do you want to make a commercial for a construction company?" he asked. It was an unexpected request. My father owns and operates a local construction company. He used to build houses on contract, but now remodeling houses is his main source of income. There were only 3 employees, my father, mother, and brother, but it was a well-known construction company in the neighborhood. "Are you sure you want me to do this? If it were a job, I'd be paid, right?" I asked, wanting to be clear. "I didn't request it because you're my daughter. I'm asking because I believe you have good advertising tastes," my father replied. I thanked my father for his words of wisdom. I was pleased to be recognized as having good taste. But more than anything, I felt accepted. My design was later used as an insert ad in the newspaper. I also made a website for the construction company and posted the ad on it. Of course, because we were a local company, we are not well known on a national scale. Locals would approach me and say, "I saw your ad," and some would even say, "It's good." I couldn't stop smiling because such voices made me so happy. At the same time, my ad was turned into a poster. The posters were displayed at the company's entrance and on bulletin boards maintained by the local community association. I can stand on my own feet. I can live independently, I thought to myself, overjoyed to have such a sense of accomplishment. Meanwhile, my posters were becoming the talk of the town. The daughter of the construction company is a designer. She also creates advertisements for the building company. Such rumors began to circulate in the community. As a result, the locals began to approach me for assistance. Then someone came to see me one day. It was an electrician from the town. "Your daughter is a designer. Can you create our advertisements?" he asked my father. "I'll ask Audrey about it," my father said lightheartedly. Actually, the electrician in town is one of our clients. Although it is called the town electrician, in reality, it is an electrical construction company. For example, they install air conditioners, fiber optic lines, and electrical wiring. So when electrical work is needed for remodeling, we ask the town electrician to do it. "So, Audrey, can you do it for me?" my dad asked, turning to me. I understood they were an important business partner, so I accepted the offer. Sometime later, I asked my father to deliver the finished advertisement. It turned out to be even better than I had expected, and the electrician in town was quite pleased. In addition to the mission, he even came to my house to thank me with a gift wrapped in a sweet envelope. "I just wanted to thank you for the wonderful job you did," he said. But it wasn't the electrician I knew well. It was a young man who bowed in gratitude. "Who are you?" I asked. "Oh, my name is Jeremiah. My father is the electrician." It was Jeremiah, the electrician's son, who came to greet me. He was a college graduate and was currently helping out as an electrician. "So, you will eventually become an electrician?" I asked. "Eventually I plan to take over the business," Jeremiah replied. "Then we might be friends for a long time," I said. "Yes, I would like that as well, especially with an attractive person like you," he added with a smile. "What? Me?" I was surprised. I had not been able to attend school much and had never been in a relationship. Could it be that I was being seduced? My face suddenly lit up when I thought that. I turned bright red and slumped down like a child. In the end, we only exchanged contact information that day, but it wasn't business contact information. It was our personal details. I had never done anything like this before. I was so nervous that I couldn't sleep that night. After that, Jeremiah and I kept in touch with each other. In between work, we would tell each other about the day's events and talk about hobbies, favorite things, and other interests. It became a daily routine. Eventually, we started dating. However, we could not do any of the things that normal couples do. First of all, I was too frail to travel far on dates. We could only go out together to a neighborhood park when I was feeling well. We were never able to go on a normal date like watching a movie. Another major reason was that our days off did not match. Because I was taking on work privately, I was able to take time off freely, but that was not the case with Jeremiah. Even on days off, he often received urgent requests to repair household appliances. Moreover, as summer and winter approached, it was not unusual for him to have to install air conditioners every day. Despite all this, I couldn't do anything that was typical of a normal lover, but that didn't cause me any trouble. We could always keep in touch with each other on our phones, exchange words, and send messages. I was always in bed with a fever, so that was nothing to me. We grew our love in this way and got married a few years later. I was to go to Jeremiah's house. Naturally, Jeremiah's parents knew me well, so my mother-in-law told me, "Just take care of the housework, as long as it's not too much for you." "I understand," I said. My father-in-law was also kind to me. "When you have time, will you make the traditional pop-ups for me?" he asked me. "I'll take care of it," I replied. "I'll leave it to you." "Thank you," he said. I thought I was getting along with my in-laws because of this, but that was only in the beginning. Gradually, my mother-in-law began to ask me to take care of various things. "I'm going to be out of town for a while, so can you watch the store for me?" she asked. "Sure, but I'm working too," I said. "Just stay at the counter. You can work there too, right?" she suggested. "If you don't mind if I bring my laptop, I'll take care of it," I responded. "I don't mind at all," my mother-in-law agreed. In this way, my mother-in-law began to ask me to watch the store more and more often. My father-in-law also started asking me for favors. "Could you make a website for the store?" he inquired. "What? I'm not an expert," I replied. "Just something simple, okay? Please," he added. "Creating a website is not my specialty, but my father-in-law pushed me into creating a website for the electronics company. After that, my in-laws would ask me to do something for them at every opportunity. One after another, they would ask me to do this, that, and the other. Eventually, my mother-in-law said to me, "I'm sorry, but could you do the cleaning for me?" she stated. "What? I have work to do too," I retorted. "What are you talking about? You're the wife. Can't you at least do that?" she insisted. Yes, I replied. In the end, I was forced to do the cleaning. Once I took on the job, there was no backing down. After cleaning, there was cooking, then laundry, and gradually the amount of housework increased. I was also made to take care of the store. I couldn't do my own work. I had no choice but to cut back on all my work as a graphic designer. Naturally, my income decreased, but I was already married, and Jeremiah was paying for my living expenses, so I was not that worried. But that was not the problem. "I think I have a fever today," I said. I was so tired that I finally caught a fever. I told my mother-in-law, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to rest for a while. When I told her, she wasn't happy. I can't believe you'd get a fever over something like that, she said. But then she added, oh yes, I understand. Just go back to bed. She said this casually and quickly left the room. Huh? I might have offended her, I thought, regretting it. But it was true that my body wasn't listening to me, so there was nothing I could do about it. I lay down on the bed. After a while, Jeremiah came in and asked, are you okay? Yes, I'm sorry, I replied. Don't be too hard on yourself, he continued. I know, but your parents, I replied. I told Jeremiah that I had no choice because my in-laws had forced me to do the chores. Then Jeremiah looked at me suspiciously. Why don't you just say no? He uttered. But, I began. What are you talking about? You're an adult. You should at least express your opinion, he interrupted me. Jeremiah did not understand anything. If this were a proper job, I would definitely say no, but the other party was my in-laws. If I rejected my mother-in-law, it might cause problems later on. It was the same with my father-in-law. If I complained and my father-in-law hated me, he might say, get a divorce. I know it's probably just me thinking too much, but I can't help but think about it. This is why I could not disobey my in-laws. Aside from that, I was sad that Jeremiah didn't understand me. I couldn't believe he didn't understand me either. I was all alone in my in-laws' house. Thinking of that, I started crying. However, this kind of thing was quite common. I mustn't lose, I told myself. After that, when the fever subsided, my mother-in-law again asked me to run errands for her. I reduced my own workload and complied with her request as much as I could. In this way, I tried to get in the favor of my parents-in-law. One day, after all this had happened, my mother-in-law suddenly asked me something like this. Audrey, how's your work going? Well, I'm continuing little by little, yes, I replied. How much money do you earn now? She continued. Huh? That's none of your business, is it? I answered sharply. It does matter. Prices have been going up lately, and if you could just give me some money for living expenses, she said, grinning. As far as I could see, the electrician's business had not gone away. Rather, as prices have risen, more and more people were looking for energy-efficient home appliances. Thanks to this, jobs such as air conditioner installation were even increasing. We were sometimes asked by major electronics retailers to provide support, and if anything, their incomes should be increasing. That's what I thought. However, my mother-in-law hinted that she did not have enough money to make ends meet. Feeling a little strange, I told her a smaller amount. My income is also tight. I also have housework, so right now, my monthly income is about $500, I said. What? 500? She wondered. Yes, 500 a month is not so bad if you think of it as a part-time job, I repeated. My mother-in-law suddenly turned red. Only $500? And you don't even do much housework, she uttered indignantly. I think I do a fair amount of housework. Her accusations were unfounded. I do all the cooking and cleaning these days. I even take care of the store and do the laundry when my mother-in-law is not around. As I was thinking about this, my mother-in-law said to me, wait a minute, I'll go talk to your father, and ran to my father-in-law. A few minutes later, my mother-in-law came back with my father-in-law and said to me, come with me. I questioned, what? Where? Your parents' house, she replied. My house? I marveled. I'm returning you, my mother-in-law said. After that, I was forcibly taken to my parents' house, where I was told in front of my father that I would be returned. In response, my father just said, I'm going to close my own company. As I was dreading what to do, my mother-in-law smiled and said, you want to close your company? Do you mean your construction company? Is that what you're talking about? She was trying to make it clear. Yes, there is no other company for me, my father responded with a thin smile. My father-in-law sighed and added, you're going to destroy the construction company and eliminate our electrician's business, aren't you? If that's the case, "What then?" Dad replied. "I'm sorry, but we have other clients besides you," my father-in-law continued. "There are tons of electrician jobs out there," he added. "Then it's okay for me to take responsibility for my daughter and shut down my own construction company, isn't it?" my father asked, looking directly at my father-in-law. "Suit yourself," my father-in-law retorted. "It's no use trying to coerce me into collapsing together." In the end, he yelled these final words and left. My mother-in-law turned to me and sneered, "You useless wife, you don't have to come back." I was left in a daze. "Is everything all right, Audrey?" my father asked, concerned. What should I do, Dad?" I asked, feeling lost. "He said so many hurtful things. Wouldn't it be better to get a divorce?" my dad uttered. "Yeah, I guess so," I replied reluctantly. However, Jeremiah might come for me, I thought, clinging to hope. The most important thing is for Jeremiah to love me, even if my in-laws don't. But Jeremiah did not come for me, no matter how long I waited. After a few days, I finally received a message from Jeremiah with only 3 words: "Let's get divorced." I wasn't convinced. I kept sending messages to Jeremiah, but he never responded. Then Jeremiah's lawyer called me. "Jeremiah's parents have persuaded him to divorce you," he informed me. I could not say anything. I agreed to the divorce, accepting the alimony and other conditions that Jeremiah offered. Thus, my marriage, which lasted less than a year, came to an end. At the same time, my father's construction company also closed its doors. However, it did not stop completely. In fact, my brother took over my father's construction company. The location and name of the company remained the same, but he cut ties with Jeremiah's family business. Naturally, this hit Jeremiah's family's business hard. Still, they had other clients and managed somehow, but they weren't safe, especially since my return became a big rumor around town. Gradually, Jeremiah's family began to be avoided, and more requests were made to the electrician's company that my brother had partnered with. This continued, and finally, rumors spread that Jeremiah's business was going under. "This will teach him a lesson," my father said one day, satisfied. My mother and I thought so too, but then the wind suddenly changed. It was the summer of the following year. I was in my brother's construction company office when we received a phone call. "Excuse me, the air conditioner seems to have broken down," said someone whose house my brother had remodeled. When my brother went to check on it, he found that the outdoor unit of the air conditioner had been broken. "That's terrible, even for a prank," my brother muttered. He consulted with the family and immediately reported it to the police. My brother then contacted his electrician partner and had the air conditioner replaced. But this wasn't the only case. The same thing happened again and again. My brother's construction company alone could not handle the situation. The story goes that the affected people reluctantly asked Jeremiah's family for help. "We are receiving more and more similar requests, and the fee will be charged at a premium," my ex-father-in-law announced, grinning. "Is that okay with you?" he asked one of the affected clients. "The number of people in need is increasing," he added, justifying the premium charge. It was unacceptable to charge more for repairs just because demand was rising. I was furious, but it had nothing to do with me. There was nothing I could do but give up. But my brother was different. "I'll find the culprit," he declared, and asked for the cooperation of several of his clients. I wondered what he was going to do, but what he did was very simple. He lent them an intercom for free. "Why an intercom?" I asked, puzzled. Intercoms nowadays have a video recording function. Some have sensors, so they can be used in place of security cameras, he explained. "I don't think it will be that easy," I said skeptically. But within 3 days, the culprits were caught. Moreover, it was Jeremiah's parents who were caught. They had broken into houses in the middle of the night and destroyed the air conditioners, creating work for themselves because they had lost clients. When questioned by the police, they confessed to such selfish motives. I was reminded of the term mutual collapse. If my father quit the construction business, Jeremiah's business would be in jeopardy. Perhaps my ex-father-in-law knew this and used the term deliberately. At any rate, the arrest of my in-laws triggered the collapse of Jeremiah's family's electronics shop. Apparently, Jeremiah has now started working at a demolition job site to pay for the damage. One of the electricians who worked at my brother's construction company told me he saw him there, but I don't care. I sympathize with him, but I don't want to get involved anymore. Besides, I'm happy now. I work as a graphic designer and also look after the store at my brother's construction company. I can work at my own pace, and best of all, I don't have nagging in-laws. There is one problem though. My father is retired. He keeps asking, "Are you tired? Are you okay?" He's always around talking to me. "If you're so bored, why don't you get a job too?" I think it's cooler to have a working dad, I teased. As soon as I said that, my father's head in again at my brother's construction company. It seems that my father loves me after all, but I love my father too, so we are even.